from Vermont. Senator Sanders, thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
You say you cannot support the president's proposed legislation in its current form. Those are the words you used. Why?
Look, Wolf, I remember the war in Afghanistan, which was supposed to last a few months. The war in Iraq was going to be very easy. We were in those countries for over 10 years. We have lost close to 7,000 brave men and women. The country has spent trillions of dollars. At the end of the day, if ISIS is going to be defeated, and this is a brutal, horrible organization that needs to be defeated, it is going to have to be defeated by the Muslim nations in the region. Saudi Arabia has the fourth largest defense budget in the world. You got billionaire families in Qatar, in the UAE. They have got to be increasingly involved in providing security in their region. The U.S. can be supportive. Western Europe can be supportive, but they're going to have to do the hard work.
What did it say to you, if anything? Because I couldn't help but notice, remembering the lead-up to the war in Iraq in 2003, at the end of 2002, there was that resolution, that War Powers Resolution, authorizing the use of force to go to war against Saddam Hussein. When the president walked into the Roosevelt room to make that speech, you see who's with him: the Vice President Joe Biden, the Secretary of State John Kerry, the Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel. Now, they were all U.S. senators. At the end of 2002, they all voted in favor of that war authorization. You opposed it at the time. What does it say to you, the president surrounded by men who supported going to war at that time?
Look, I think the president is doing everything that he can in trying to defeat ISIS. But when I hear words like enduring conflict, it makes me very, very nervous. I think it opens the door wider than it should be. I think we've got to continue airstrikes. I think we've got to use special operations when we can. But I do not want to see a never-ending quagmire in the Middle East where our troops die, come back with terrible illnesses, and we end up spending trillions of dollars. Once again, this war is a battle for the soul of Islam, and it's going to have to be the Muslim countries who are stepping up. These are billionaire families all over that region. They've got to get their hands dirty. They've got to get their troops on the ground. They've got to win that war with our support. We cannot be leading the effort.
Well, when the White House says, and you just heard the White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest tell our own White House correspondent Jim Acosta that the president wants this language to be, in his words, intentionally fuzzy, F-U-Z-Z-Y, what does that say to you?
Well, it says that the president and I have a disagreement on this issue and the language, and I will work very hard to try to change that language.
Specifically, what do you want to change?
I want to make sure that our young men and women are not fighting a never-ending war in the region and not getting killed. And I want to make sure that the leaders of the effort are, in fact, Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Jordan and the UAE. I want the Muslim nations to take the lead. I want their troops to be on the ground. I want them to be aggressive. I want them to be spending the money necessary to defeat ISIS. I want us to be in a supportive role, but not leading the effort.
But you don't believe, do you, and because you've studied this area for a long time, Senator, that any of these countries, whether Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, any of these moderate Arab countries are going to take the lead without the United States right at the front of that lead?
Well, what you're saying is they got these billionaire families, and they're saying, hey, why do we want to sacrifice our kids? Why do we want to spend our money? We got Uncle Sam there who's going to do the work for us. Let's just sit back. American troops will take out ISIS. I disagree with that philosophy. I think they got to jump in. We support them. And I believe that strongly.
I want you to stand by. We have much more to discuss. Senator Bernie Sanders is with us. We're talking about the president's proposal. He's seeking war powers authorization for 3 years to fight ISIS, to launch this war, to continue the war, and potentially expand the war in Iraq and Syria. Stay with us. Much more right after this.